My girlfriend said, "My ex is just sleeping on the couch." I walked in and saw his shoes, his smile, his comfort. I said nothing. 2 days later, I chose myself, walked away, and learned why love should never make you feel like a guest. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "He's just sleeping on the couch." No hesitation, no shame, just that sentence. That was the moment something inside me cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet snap, like a thread finally giving up after being pulled too long. I remember nodding, slowly, calmly, but in my head, everything was screaming. I'd been with Maya for 3 years, 3 years of inside jokes, late-night food runs, meeting each other's families, talking about apartments we'd maybe move into together someday. She wasn't just my girlfriend. She was my routine, my comfort, my future plans scribbled in pencil. Her ex, Daniel, was supposed to be the past. The kind of past you reference vaguely. We didn't work out. End of sentence. End of story. But life doesn't always respect punctuation. Daniel had come back into her orbit about 6 months earlier. At first, it sounded harmless. He'd lost his job. Then his apartment. Then, according to Maya, everything kind of fell apart for him. "I just feel bad," she'd said, scrolling through her phone on my couch. "I mean, we're not together anymore. But he doesn't really have anyone." I remember feeling that first flicker of unease. Why is she telling me this like she's asking permission? But I pushed it down. I didn't want to be that guy. The jealous one, the insecure boyfriend who can't handle a little compassion. So when she said she was helping him figure things out, I nodded. When she said they were grabbing coffee to talk, I nodded. When she said he might crash at her place for a few days, I hesitated, then nodded again. That was my mistake. The night everything blew up started with a text. "Hey, can we talk later?" Nothing good ever follows that sentence. I drove over to her apartment after work. It was already dark. Her lights were on, but the place felt off, like walking into a room where a fight had just ended, but the air was still heavy. She opened the door with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Hey," she said. "Hey," I replied, stepping inside. That's when I saw the shoes. Men's sneakers by the door. Not mine. Bigger. Worn differently. Familiar in a way that made my stomach tighten. I didn't say anything at first. I just followed her into the living room, and there he was, Daniel, sitting on the couch, legs crossed, remote in hand, like he belonged there. "Man," he said, standing up awkwardly, "didn't expect to see you." That sentence hit me harder than any insult could have. Didn't expect to see you, like I was the guest. I looked at Maya. She looked anywhere but at me. "What's going on?" I asked. She exhaled, like I was the one inconveniencing her. He just needed a place to stay for the night. I laughed. I couldn't help it. A short, sharp laugh that surprised even me. "For the night," I repeated. Daniel cleared his throat. "Look, I don't want to cause problems." "You already are," I said, my voice flat. Maya shot me a warning look. "Can you not do this right now? Not do this." Like calling out reality was rude. I turned back to her. "You told me he'd be gone by now." "I know," she said quickly. "Plans changed." "Plans?" I echoed. "Whose plans?" She finally looked at me then, and for the first time, I saw it. Guilt, mixed with something else. Defensiveness. "He's just sleeping on the couch," she said. That's it. There it was. The sentence. I stared at her, waiting for something. Anything. An apology, a reassurance, a "please don't misunderstand." Nothing came. I didn't yell. I didn't storm out. I just felt tired. "So let me get this straight," I said quietly. "Your ex lives here now." "He's not living here," she snapped. "He's staying temporarily." "And how long is temporary?" I asked. She shrugged. That shrug hurt more than any confession could have. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "I can leave if—" "No," Maya said immediately. Too immediately. "It's fine." That was another crack. "It's fine." I looked at him again. He avoided my eyes this time, suddenly very interested in the TV. I thought about all the times Maya had said she was too tired to come over lately. The times she took longer to reply. The way she'd started guarding her phone like it held state secrets. It all lined up in my head with a sickening click. "I'm not doing this," I said. Maya frowned. "Doing what?" "This," I repeated, gesturing between them. "Competing with your past while pretending it's no big deal. You're overreacting," she said. That sentence sealed it. I grabbed my jacket. "So that's it?" she asked. "You're just leaving?" I turned back at the door. My heart was pounding, but my voice was steady. "No," I said. "I'm choosing." "Choosing what?" she scoffed. I looked at the couch, then back at her. If he's sleeping on the couch, I said, so am I. Permanently. Her face changed then. Shock, panic, anger, all at once. Don't be dramatic, she snapped. But I was already opening the door. As I stepped out into the cold night air, my phone buzzed. A text from her. You're really doing this? I didn't reply, because for the first time in months, I felt strangely clear. The drive home felt longer than usual. Not because of traffic, not because I was lost, because every red light gave my thoughts another chance to catch up with me. My phone buzzed again, and again. I didn't look. If I look, I'll weaken, I told myself. And I don't trust myself right now. When I finally pulled into my driveway, my hands were shaking. I sat in the car for a full minute, engine still running, staring at nothing, just breathing. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, replaying everything. Her tone, her shrug, the way she said, it's fine, like my discomfort was a minor inconvenience. By morning, I had 12 missed calls, 23 messages. The first few were angry. You embarrassed me. You acted crazy. Daniel already feels uncomfortable. Then they shifted. I didn't mean it like that. You're twisting things. We should talk. The last one came just before sunrise. Please don't throw away 3 years over this. That one hurt the most, because I hadn't thrown anything away. I had finally picked myself. We met 2 days later. Public place. Coffee shop. Neutral ground. She was already there when I arrived. Fingers wrapped tightly around her cup like it was an anchor. She looked tired. No makeup. Dark circles under her eyes. For a second, my resolve wavered. She looks like she's hurting. Then I remembered the couch. I sat across from her. She didn't waste time. I don't understand why you reacted like that, she said. You made it into something it's not. I stirred my coffee slowly. Then explain it to me, she sighed. Daniel needed help. I was just being a decent human being, and I was supposed to be okay with that, I said. Yes, she replied immediately. Too immediately again. Because I chose you. I looked at her. Really looked. Then why did it feel like I was the one being pushed out, I asked. She opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. That's not fair, she muttered. Neither was walking into your apartment and finding your ex acting like he owned the place. He doesn't, she said sharply. You're exaggerating. I leaned back in my chair. You didn't even warn me. I didn't think I had to, she said. I didn't think you'd react like this. There it was. I didn't think about you at all. I asked you months ago if there was anything unresolved between you two, I said quietly. You told me no. There isn't, she said quickly. I raised an eyebrow. Then why does he feel comfortable sleeping 10 feet away from you? She bristled. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? I asked. She hesitated. And that hesitation told me everything. I didn't want to abandon him, she finally said. I nodded slowly. But you were okay abandoning me. That's not. You lied, I interrupted, my voice calm but firm. You minimized. You dismissed how I felt. And when I tried to talk about it, you made me feel crazy. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't cheat on you. I held her gaze. I didn't say you did, but you're acting like I betrayed you. Because you did, I said. Just not physically. She looked stunned. I continued. You chose to protect his comfort over my boundaries. You made decisions that affected us without including me. That's betrayal. She wiped her cheeks angrily. So what? You want me to kick him out on the street? I shrugged. I wanted you to choose us. Or at least talk to me before choosing him. Silence settled between us. Heavy. Final. After that conversation, something shifted. She didn't argue as hard. Didn't deflect as much. Instead, she got quiet. I need time to think, she said eventually. I nodded. That's fine. But I already knew. Time wouldn't fix this. 2 weeks passed. No calls. Minimal texts. Just logistics. Cold. Careful. Then, one night, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. Hey man, it's Daniel. My stomach dropped. I don't want drama. The message continued. But I think you deserve to know the truth. I stared at my screen. Part of me wanted to block the number immediately. Another part whispered, you already know, but maybe you need proof. So I replied, what truth? The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, appeared again. She didn't tell you everything, he finally wrote. I felt my heart pound in my ears. About what? About why we broke up in the first place. I swallowed hard. She told me it just didn't work. 3 dots. That's not what happened. We met the next day. Different coffee shop. Same neutral ground. Danielle looked nervous, fidgety, not smug, not victorious, just guilty. "I'm not proud of this," he said immediately. "But I don't want to be the bad guy hiding behind silence." I crossed my arms. "Just say it." He took a deep breath. "We broke up because she never fully let go of me. Even when she said she had." My chest tightened. "She'd reach out when things got hard," he continued. "Even when you two were together." I felt my throat go dry. "How often?" He winced. "More than you'd like." I clenched my jaw. "Did anything happen?" "No," he said quickly. "Not physically, but emotionally? Yeah." I laughed bitterly. "Figures. She told me she missed how easy things used to be," he said. "That being with you felt heavier." Each word felt like a punch. "I tried to back off," he added. "But when I lost my place, she offered." Offered? Like it was nothing. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. He met my eyes. "Because I realized she wasn't choosing either of us. She was choosing comfort." That hit harder than everything else. When I confronted Maya later that night, she didn't deny it. She just cried. "I didn't know what I wanted," she said between sobs. "And that's exactly the problem," I replied. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I ended things that night. No shouting. No slammed doors. Just a quiet understanding that whatever we had left wasn't worth saving. She asked if we could take a break instead. I said no, because breaks are just breakups where one person is still hoping. She asked if we could try again later. I said no again, because later would just look like this, on repeat. When I walked out of her apartment for the last time, she didn't follow me. She didn't stop me. She just sat there on the couch. The same couch. That image stuck with me longer than I expected. The weeks after were strange. Not dramatic. Not cinematic. Just empty. I woke up reaching for my phone, then remembered there was no good morning waiting. I passed her favorite coffee shop without thinking, then thought about it all day. I caught myself saving memes I'd never send. Grief isn't loud at first. It's quiet. Sneaky. It shows up in grocery store aisles and empty passenger seats. Friends told me I did the right thing, that I dodged a bullet, that I deserved better. I nodded, smiled, thanked them. But at night, alone, I still wondered if I was too harsh. What if she really just needed help? What if I misread everything? Then I'd remember the shrug, and the doubt would disappear. About a month later, I ran into her accidentally. Same grocery store, same aisle, frozen foods. She looked thinner, tired, different. We locked eyes. For a second, neither of us moved. Then she smiled weakly. "Hey." "Hey," I replied. Awkward silence. "So, how have you been?" she asked. I considered lying. "Honestly," I said. "Better." She flinched, just slightly. "That's good," she said, though it didn't sound like it felt good. "How about you?" I asked. She hesitated. "Daniel moved out." I nodded. "I figured. He and I don't really talk anymore," she added quickly, like she was offering evidence. "I didn't ask for it. I've been doing a lot of thinking," she said, "about us." I sighed internally. "Of course you have." "That's good," I said neutrally. She stepped closer. "I know I messed up. I didn't realize what I had until it was gone." There it was, the sentence everyone hopes for, and dreads at the same time. "I needed to lose you to understand," she continued. "I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know." I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, I didn't feel that pull, that urge to fix things, to soften. "I hope you learned something," I said. "Truly." She blinked. "That's it?" "That's it," I replied, her eyes filled with tears. "I would have chosen you." I paused, then spoke carefully. "You had chances." I walked away before she could respond. That night, I realized something important. Closure doesn't always come from apologies. Sometimes it comes from realizing you no longer need them. A few weeks later, Daniel texted me again. "Just wanted to say sorry for everything." I stared at the message for a long time, then replied, "Take care of yourself," and blocked the number. Not out of anger, out of peace. Months passed. I started going to the gym regularly, started saying yes to plans, started laughing without forcing it. One night, a friend asked if I'd ever consider getting back with Maya if she really changed. I thought about it, then shook my head. "No," I said. "I'd always remember the couch." They laughed. I didn't. Because that couch wasn't just furniture. It was a symbol of being second place in my own relationship. I don't hate her. I don't wish her harm. I hope she figures out what she wants before she hurts someone else. But I also know this. Love shouldn't make you feel like a guest in someone else's life. And respect shouldn't be something you have to negotiate. Sometimes, late at night, I think back to that moment at her door. The shoes, the shrug, the sentence, "He's just sleeping on the couch," and I'm grateful. because that was the night I stopped sleeping on my own self-worth. The funny thing is, life didn't reward me immediately for walking away. There was no instant glow-up, no movie montage romance waiting around the corner, no dramatic message from her months later begging for forgiveness. What I got instead was silence. And at first, that silence was terrifying. There were nights I sat alone with my thoughts, replaying every moment I could have handled differently. Every time I stayed quiet instead of speaking up. Every boundary I softened because I didn't want to seem controlling. Maybe if I'd said something sooner. Maybe if I'd been more patient. But then another thought always followed. Why was I the only one doing the bending? That question changed everything. I started journaling. Nothing fancy. Just thoughts dumped onto paper at 1 a.m. The kind you don't say out loud because they make you uncomfortable. I wrote about how I'd ignored my instincts. How I mistook being understanding for being selfless, when really, I was just afraid of losing her. I wrote about how often I'd felt like I had to compete for her attention, even when I was supposed to be her partner. And slowly, painfully, the picture became clear. I wasn't insecure. I was responding to insecurity. One night, I found an old photo of us on my phone. We were smiling, arms wrapped around each other, happy. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it, not out of anger, but because that version of us no longer existed, and holding on to it was only delaying my healing. About 6 months later, I met someone new, not in a dramatic way. No sparks flying across the room, just a conversation that felt easy. Her name was Lena. We talked about music, bad movies, childhood pets, nothing heavy, and that's when I noticed it. I didn't feel anxious. I didn't feel like I had to perform or impress. I didn't feel like I was being measured against someone else's memory. I was just present. As we got closer, I caught myself waiting for the other shoe to drop, for her to mention an ex who was still around, for her phone to light up and change her mood, for that familiar tightening in my chest. It never came. One night, I finally told her the story. The couch, the ex, the ending. She listened quietly. Then she said something I'll never forget. That sounds lonely. Not dramatic, not judgmental, just honest. And she was right. I had been lonely, even when I wasn't alone. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. Not because Maya was a bad person, but because I'd learned what it felt like to be chosen without hesitation. I heard through mutual friends that Maya eventually moved cities. New job, new start. I hope it helped. I truly do. But I no longer feel curious about her life. That chapter closed itself. Sometimes people ask if I regret how I handled things, if I wish I'd stayed longer, tried harder, fought more. I always give the same answer. No. Because staying would have taught me how to tolerate disrespect. Leaving taught me how to recognize my worth. Looking back now, the signs were always there. The minimized feelings, the half-truths, the way my discomfort was framed as a flaw instead of a signal. I just didn't know how to listen to myself yet. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Love doesn't ask you to shrink. It doesn't ask you to compete with the past. And it definitely doesn't ask you to sleep on your own dignity while someone else gets comfort. That night, when she said, "He's just sleeping on the couch," she thought she was calming the situation. What she actually did was wake me up. Sometimes the moment that breaks you is the same one that frees you. And sometimes, walking away isn't losing at all. It's finally coming home to yourself.